Kneel before Harmless Phosphorescence.
Welcome, everybody, to Harmless Phosphorescence, the superhero movie podcast where we go through every superhero movie ever made in chronological order. That means live action films released in theaters, no cartoons, no TV shows. So this week we're going back to 1980. I am one of your hosts, Thoreau Smiley, and I am the world's greatest criminal mastermind. I'm joined this week by
Josh Cece, and I run a honeymoon racket.
Brian Lesh, and I know judo. Let's go.
Mute Brute, Alaric Weber.
Naan, my favorite Indian bread. So, we're going back to 1980. It was the year that Mount St. Helens erupted. Richard Pryor set himself on fire, freebasing cocaine. Ted Turner established CNN. John Ritter starred in Hero at Large. And that's how long we've been recording this podcast since. And also, Superman 2 was released. Superman 2. They started filming it the same time that they were filming the original. They started it and its sequel simultaneously with principal photography beginning in March 1977. They decided, after filming 75% of Superman 2, while simultaneously filming the original, to stop because they were afraid.
Yes. They suddenly got very nervous about the amount of money that was being spent.
Yeah, which, I mean, you have 75% of a film. It seems to me at that point that it would be far more expensive to not release it.
That seems like the point of no return.
Yeah. I mean, 3/4 is a lot.
Got all that post-production stuff to do too.
That's true. Yeah. But imagine if they decided not to make the second one at all. That would be like a really lost film at that point. So following the release of Superman in December 1978, Donner was fired as director. Basically because he didn't get along with the producers, the Selkines.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little murky as to what the actual reasons are, but he was replaced by Richard Lester, who is best known for his work with the Beatles on A Hard Day's Night and Help. He also filmed the Musketeers series in the 70s and directed Butch and Sundance the early years. He would later come back for Superman 3, so obviously they were pleased with what he did on Superman 2. So in order to be officially credited as director, Lester reshot most of the film. They brought back in co-screenwriters David and Leslie Newman to retool the script. Lester's take on Donner's film making was I think that Donner was emphasizing a kind of grandiose myth. There was a kind of David Leanish attempt in several sequences and enormous scale. There was a type of epic quality which isn't in my nature, so my work really didn't embrace that. That's not me. That's his vision of it. I'm more quirky, and I play around with slightly more unexpected silliness, which
He does. Yeah, he does. It's so funny. Just yesterday, I heard a little something about him. He also did a lot of British television, and there was a funny quote that I had heard where he said, television is called a medium because it's not rare and it's never well done.
Ooh, nice.
That's good.
Hot
I
take.
thought that was good.
Yeah.
But and they talk about a lot of the wacky sort of psychedelic tricks he would do with camera and with, slapsticky humor, which will come up later.
Yeah,
in this.
definitely. Definitely. So, So Lester brought in cinematographer Robert Painter to have the film evoke the garish color scheme of the comics specifically. Another replacement happened when set designer John Barry suddenly collapsed on the nearby set of The Empire Strikes Back and died from meningitis.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, so goodbye, John Barry.
Got that on Hoth, I guess.
Yeah. You didn't get some vaccinations.
Got the Wampa flu.
So did Brando film scenes for this?
Well, everything, yes, he did. And that's actually in the Donner cut, which we will address at a later date. as a film, anyways.
But it was-
obviously we're going to talk about it some now, but
I wanted to see Brando do slapstick humor.
We've all wanted to.
But no, Brando. Yeah, but Brando didn't film anything for Richard Lester because they had already at that point decided we don't want Brando to take any of the box office for this.
Yeah.
So they cut out everything. They didn't use anything he had shot for Superman 2.
For the first one, he got, what was it again? Like a quarter or something?
It was-
He got, it translated to about 19 million altogether, but he got 11%. 11% of the gross.
That's
Still a ton.
crazy.
And he negotiated for the 2 movies since they were making them at once. So yeah, they had to scrap the director and
Yeah.
in order to scrap him because his contract was for both.
Yeah. So that it had to technically be a different movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that's the reason they did, but yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, so before filming was to begin, because Christopher Reeve was initially unavailable because he was filming the romantic fantasy film Somewhere in Time, which, have any of you guys seen that?
Oh yeah, it's a good movie.
That's a good movie.
I'll have to check that out.
He has an airplane and he goes back in time.
I'm into it already.
That's about it.
Perfect.
And there's like this, it's been years since I've seen it, but I have, definitely fond memories of that. 5 months into the production shutdown, by which his contract to shoot both Superman films back-to-back had expired. So Reeve had claimed that 12 hours after his casting was announced, he received a letter from the producers to be available for Superman the 2nd on July 16th, which was only 5 days after he was to finish filming Somewhere in Time. March 1979, the Salkinds filed suit against Reeve, alleging that he had breached his contract by walking off the sequel. Furthermore, Reeve had held reservations with Lester in the Newman script following the departure of Donner. During the renegotiation of his contract, Reeve agreed to the financial terms but demanded more artistic control. So this represents some sort of artistic control for Christopher Reeves.
Yeah, curious.
Wow.
Then filming for Superman 2 recommenced in September 1979 at Pinewood Studios. With Brando cut from the film, the decision was made to reshoot the scenes in which Clark confesses his love for Lois and surrender his powers. Another scene, as written in the film's original shooting script and shot, was to have Jor-El restore his superpowers by reaching out to him in a tableau reminiscent of the painting The Creation of Adam.
And that's missing from the theatrical cut of this movie completely.
Yes.
He just shows back up.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's
Well, I mean, there's the bit with the... We'll get to it.
Yeah, we better.
Yeah.
So the first scene was reshot with actress Susanna York taking Brando's place, while the restoration of Superman's
Oh,
powers...
right, as his mother.
Yeah, his mom, Superman's mom.
She was not playing Brando.
She was some woman.
She wasn't playing...
She's all, Stella!
She wasn't playing Jor-El.
Okay. Yeah, his mom.
Location shooting took place in Canada, Paris, Norway, and St. Lucia, and in the Metropolis scenes, in contrast to the first film that were shot on location in New York, they were filmed entirely on the back lot at Pinewood.
No.
You couldn't tell.
Not at all.
Totally couldn't tell.
Nah, seamless. Throughout filming, Lester caused tensions as he opted to retain his directorial technique. He had a 3-camera setup. He'd set up 3 cameras and just tell them to go. Kind of like
modern comedies.
Yeah.
Right, like a TV director would.
yeah, like The Office or something.
I mean, that's how like the MCU is made, essentially. Well, not with 3 cameras, but like just say something.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just riff,
Yeah,
guys.
just do it. It works really well in this movie.
I mean, occasionally it does.
Sometimes, yeah.
Some of the Gene Hackman stuff is pretty good.
Yeah.
Filming was completed on March 10th, 1980. Due to budgetary reasons and actors being unavailable, key scenes filmed by Donner were added to the final film, so there is some Donner footage in there. Since the Lester footage was shot 2 years later, continuity errors are present in both the physique and styling of stars Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeves. Reeves, of course, put on a bunch of bulk in between the 2 films, and Margot Kidder was much thinner in the second one.
Yeah.
Absolutely not because of any sort of cocaine addiction.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. It was
She just,
kryptonite.
she just smoked her way thin.
That's right. Exactly.
Lots of vitamin C.
As was the style at the time.
Superman.
Superman, I am happy to see you.
Exactly. Why? Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Before the film's release, Warner Brothers had appealed to the Directors Guild of America to assign the appropriate co-director credit, in which they argued Lester could not be credited unless he shot 40% of the film. Although Lester had earlier thought he would not be credited, he approached Donner to see if he wished to be credited as co-director, in which Donner replied, "I don't share credit."
Oh,
Is that an actual quote?
That's an actual quote.
Wow, that's
I don't
gangster.
share credit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to share credit on this movie either.
Well, you know what's funny is that he then went on to be more successful, Richard Donner, but with his wife, what is it, Linda Schuler Donner?
Yeah.
But like they made all the Lethal Weapons. And
Yeah.
everything. So he literally went on to share credit with his wife for the rest of his career.
Well, I mean, he did do the cameo with the backwards roller skate thing.
Yeah.
That's right. I get it. It's a runner. Okay. Composer John Williams was originally slated to score Superman 2, in which he was given a screening with Ilya Salkind and Richard Lester. When Salkind left the projection room, Williams and Lester fell into an argument, and when Salkind returned, Williams told him that he could not get along with this man. To take his place, Richard Lester's frequent composer Ken Thorne was selected to score the sequel. Ken Thorne, of course, worked on the Beatles' Help, and which is his most prominent piece of work, in which he simply reorchestrated a lot of Beatles songs.
Right,
Yeah.
I was going to say he orchestrated this one with like a razor blade in the original score from the first film.
Exactly.
Just re-edited
Exactly. It was, I mean, long sequences were just the same from Superman.
it. Yep, that dream sequence poem thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They should have used that song from the first one.
Yeah, I noticed. There's no
Mine
song.
Yeah.
I'm a fool. Joining the cast this time around, we had Sarah Douglas as what was it? Una?
Ursa.
Ursa.
Oh,
Like
Ursa.
Ursa Minor, Ursa Major.
Yeah. Sarah Douglas as
Bear?
Ursa.
Bear, yeah.
She later went on to star in Conan the Destroyer, Swamp Thing 2, so we'll be seeing her again. Beastmaster 2, Puppet Master 3, Meatballs 4,
Wow, she had a type. Yeah, except for meatballs.
Return of the Living Dead 3, Mirror Mirror 2, and the movie I am absolutely I'm going to go find this movie, Strippers versus Werewolves.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Right. Yes.
Jack O'Halloran starred as Non. He was also in the 70s King Kong, in Dan Aykroyd's Dragnet, and the 1990s live-action Flintstones, where he played the Yeti.
Wow. Yeah. And he had a cold throughout this entire movie, I assume.
Yes, he had a sore throat.
And he's very upset that he doesn't get the jobs that guy from Moonraker gets.
Like
Jaws?
Jobs from Moonraker, yeah.
Non only pawn in Game of Life.
Yeah, that vibe. That vibe was there.
Yeah, for sure. They were joined by Sir Terrence Stamp. I don't know if he's Sir. Terrence Stamp. He seems like a Sir.
Should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
this
just
film.
they give him away, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, they do now. Queen's like, anybody, come here. You want it.
Wouldn't it be great if they had to defend the realm? They said Elton John.
Michael
Why
Caine.
can't we both think of Elton John? What if he's tough as shit and we don't know?
He wrote Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting.
No, he's just all right.
He's like, I hope you don't mind. I wrote this ass kicking for you. Terrence Stamp,
Terrence Stamp.
the star of Billy Budd, in which he played Billy Budd, which we might all remember from
English class.
English
Yeah.
class.
I think I slept through most of that in school.
The Collector, Far from the Maddening Crowd, A Season in Hell, Jules Verne's Mystery on Monster Island. Which
I think I can guess the mystery.
it's called Monster Island.
Yeah. Fresh cheese everywhere. It's a mystery.
Mislead.
He was in Wall Street, Young Guns, Alien Nation, The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, The Limey,
Yeah, Limey. That's a good movie.
Yeah, that is a good movie. Star Wars Episode 1.
Oh, yeah. He was Chancellor Valorum.
That's right, yeah.
Valorum.
I don't know how I remember
I
that.
barely
man.
met him.
Vote of no confidence, he's gone.
Bowfinger, Full Frontal, Valkyrie, The Adjustment Bureau, and his most recent role was in Adam Sandler's Murder Mystery for Netflix.
It was called Murder Mystery?
Murder Mystery, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, it was not actually called Adam Sandler's Murder Mystery, but I really wish it was Adam Sandler Presents.
Yeah, like he's our new Vincent Price.
So this movie has an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, 4 stars from Roger Ebert. And in his At the time, review for the Chicago Sun-Times, he wrote, "It brings the fantastic into our everyday lives. It delights in showing us the reaction of the man on the street to Superman's latest stunt. In the movie, as in the comic book, ordinary citizens seem to spend their days glued to the sidewalk, gazing skyward and shouting things like, 'Superman is dead,' or 'Superman has saved the world.'"
For example, yeah.
Superman's a phony.
"He's running away."
Yeah.
Lots of voiceover from the street. Yeah.
So much.
The man on the street was the fifth Beatle, and the whole film has more smiles and laughs than the first one. Maybe that's because of a change of directors. You think, Robert? Richard Donner, who made the first Superman film and did a brilliant job of establishing a basic look for the series, was followed this time by Richard Lester, and this is some of Lester's best work.
Okay.
Yeah, he permits satire to make its way into the film more easily. He has a lot of fun with Gene Hackman as the still-scheming, thin-skinned, egomaniacal Lex Luthor, and he draws out Christopher Reeve, whose performance in the title role is sly, knowing, and yet still appropriately square.
All right.
Sly, huh?
Yeah,
I think I saw a different movie.
That sly old Superman. I thought we'd go a little back. We actually looked a little bit into the backstory of General Zod and Lex Luthor. General Zod first appeared in Adventure Comics number 283, April 1961. His full name is Drew Zod.
Drew
But
Zod.
my friends call me Zod.
Zod created an army of robotic duplicates of himself, all bearing the resemblance to Bizarro. He was sentenced to exile in the Phantom Zone for 40 years for his crimes. Zod was eventually released by Superman when his term of imprisonment was up. So in the comics, Superman was like, "You've paid your debt to society, Zod. Come on home."
That's barely. These guys are like immortal. 40 years?
Yeah, it's nothing. That's a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, it's like overnight in the can, man.
However, he attempted to conquer Earth with the superpowers his Kryptonian body acquired under the yellow sun.
Yep.
Oh, why didn't we see that coming?
Yeah.
Tale as old as time.
With Zod's threat now obvious, Superman was forced to oppose him and ultimately return him to the zone. Later years, he would team up with a number of other baddies, including the Suicide Squad.
Wow.
Huh.
I don't know when that run was.
Wow, I'm going to have to hunt that down.
Yeah.
That's got to be a weird dynamic.
Yeah, right? Harley Quinn and Zod.
Right, exactly.
No, I feel like the Suicide Squad's a little overpowered at that point.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, I'm the guy that climbs stuff. This is the guy that has all the powers of Superman.
I have a bat.
I have a bat and I'm a little crazy. Alexander Joseph Lex Luthor appeared in Action Comics number 23, April 1940. In his first story appearance, Luthor is depicted as a diabolical genius and is referred to only by his surname. He resides in a flying city suspended by a dirigible and plots to provoke a war between two European nations. He returned in Superman number 4, steals
1940?
1940, Luthor first appeared.
War between two European nations. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, they had World War I already, but still.
Yeah. Yes, it wasn't.
We call that foreshadowing.
Luthor returned. Well, they shot World War I and World War II at the same time. But
Saved a lot of budget, but
Yeah,
they had to
they did.
reshoot
they had
World War
most
II.
of
Yeah.
World War II they had to reshoot because of
Because the first Hitler was taller than the second Hitler. He filmed them both at once.
Luther returned.
Wait. And they had to get a British guy to help bail them out. All right. Okay.
Luther returned in Superman number 4. He steals a weapon from the U.S. Army that is capable of causing earthquakes. Superman battles and defeats Luthor, and the earthquake device is destroyed by Superman. The scientist who made the device commits suicide to prevent its reinvention.
Wow.
Yeah. Luther's also shown to have created a city on the sunken lost continent of Pacifico.
Like the beer?
No, Pacifo. and to have recreated prehistoric monsters which he planned to unleash upon the world. Superman thwarts his plans, and Luthor appears to have been killed by the dinosaurs he created. That was all one issue. Luthor then returned.
I was about to ask what's happening.
That was just one issue. That's not a run. He returned in Superman #5 with the plan to place hypnotic gas in the offices of influential people. He intends to throw the nation into a depression with the help of corrupt financier Mosley. I don't know why we haven't heard from Mosley since. But the story ends with Superman defeating him. Spoiler alert. In Luthor's earliest appearances, he's shown as a middle-aged man with a full head of red hair. Less than a year later, however, an artistic mistake resulted in Luthor being depicted as completely bald in a newspaper strip. The original error is attributed to Leo Nowak, a studio artist who illustrated for the Superman dailies during this period. One hypothesis is that Nowak mistook Luthor for the Ultra-Humanite, a frequent foe of Superman who, in his Golden Age incarnation, resembled a balding elderly man. Other evidence suggests Luthor's design was confused with that of a stockier, bald henchman.
Change the look of villains forever on accident.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to have curly red hair.
Yeah, exactly. Annie was
all of them.
The Joker. Hitler.
Batman.
In 1944, Lex Luthor was the first character in a comic book to use an atomic bomb. And in the origin story, printed in Adventure Comics, number 271 for April 1960, young Lex Luthor is shown to be an aspiring scientist who resides in Smallville, the hometown of Superboy. The teenage Luthor saves Superboy from a chance encounter with kryptonite, but Superboy inadvertently caused Luthor's baldness, leading to years of animosity.
Yeah.
So that's the backstory on our two main villains there.
Hair, man.
Yeah.
It's all about the hair. So, you fellas ready to jump on into the plot here?
Yeah, sure.
So, let's get into Superman 2, The Quest for Zod.
Superman 2. The adventure continues with the three villains from Krypton. Each one with the same powers as Superman. Each one dedicated to violence against mankind.
Think of it. 3 supervillains. Or 4 if you count him twice.
The adventure continues in Paris with Lois Lane.
I believe this is your floor.
And the romance continues. The adventure continues in Washington. The world is on the brink of destruction.
Superman, can you hear me?
And Metropolis is in ruins.
Superman, help us!
Is there no one on this planet to even challenge me?
Superman!
General, would you care to step outside? Revenge.
Revenge!
Revenge! Now we're cooking, huh?
The big one's just as strong as Superman.
If you've only seen the first part, you haven't seen the best part. The adventure continues in Superman 2.
All right, so we cold open on some trippy space stuff. Then swoop in majestically on Krypton, where the criminals General Zod, Ursa, and Non are breaking some very expensive crystals.
Yeah.
So like they're like literally like tiptoeing.
Yeah, they just sneak up behind that guard, who's got to be the worst guard ever, because he's not even pointed. He's not even facing the door. I guess, because the giant non just sneaks up on him and snaps his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And why is it every room on Krypton clearly only has 3 walls?
Right.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a good
an open
point.
chamber.
Yeah.
And they were like pretty poorly green screened onto probably a still from one of the a shot from the previous
Oh yeah,
movie.
they did not make a new set of Krypton.
No,
not at all.
They just took a still photo of a cathedral-like room and green screened the action on front of that.
Yeah.
That's where all that Donner footage is, right there in the beginning. Man.
Yeah.
Well, and the guard that they sneak up on, and Non himself, and to a degree, Kal-El, they don't really make Kryptonians seem all that smart or advanced.
Yeah.
I guess it really is just compared to us.
Well, even compared to us.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, and so so this is the second time we've seen them sentenced to the Phantom Zone, and in a different manner. One film later.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yeah. But some of that footage was from the first one too, the floating heads.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Zod breaks the crystal, and immediately I guess it was some sort of booby trap, because then the hula hoops come down.
Oh right.
The bright light and the hula hoops come down, and
Yeah.
then they're immediately on trial.
Like he sprung a trap.
Yeah,
It's like an Indiana Jones
I've got to say
trap.
that's a really efficient justice system. Like, do the crime, face the trial, get sentenced. 30 seconds, we're done.
One location.
We need hula hoops, man.
Yeah.
They just have hula
Justice hoops.
hanging everywhere you go in case there's a crime to be committed.
Hula hoops and album covers.
Yep.
Immediately captured, promptly sentenced to banishment to the Phantom Zone, and then into the Superman, the TV series opening credits.
Yeah. Right. With the recap footage and stuff, just like a
with
TV show.
the recap. It was basically the Quantum Leap opening credits, but Superman.
Yeah. And naked kid again, just
Yeah,
in case you
yeah.
forgot.
Yeah, just
Baby penis right
doubling
there.
down on the baby penis. Yeah,
They could have gone without the baby penis this time.
Absolutely.
I know.
Yeah.
That's where the money is.
Apparently. Yeah, they both directors shot some of that footage.
I hope that
Let's
kid,
do that again.
It was new baby penis footage.
I hope that kid never had to act ever or work ever again in his entire life. He's like, everybody in the world has seen me naked. I'm just gonna live
I
fat
gotta
off
Google
hog,
that
you
kid.
know?
See what
Whoa,
he-
be careful. Be
You
careful.
better not. You better not. I would not.
Have a seat.
He's dead as far as we're concerned. Do not go looking.
So yeah, we recap everything in the first movie except for making time go backwards.
Yeah.
And
Well, because if you make time go backwards, you never made time go backwards.
right.
Let's not get into that. But
Yeah.
I'm just.
Oh,
yeah.
you're right. Yeah. That's a good point.
That's right.
It only went backwards for Superman. Everybody
Right.
else is unaware.
Yeah, he didn't travel in time. He actually caused it to reverse. I don't know. There's so much to unpack with that.
Where's the Hulk to explain all this stuff for us?
So the credit sequence ends. We cut to the Daily Planet, where Clark is being not greeted by his coworkers. He's not a popular guy at work.
He's a loser, man.
Yeah, no one really likes Clark.
Yeah.
He's super friendly. I mean, it's just everybody else is just not very friendly.
Yeah, they're just kind of dicks.
Right. Which, I'm sure that's intentional, but yeah, it is a bit much.
It is.
Like there's nobody in the building that digs the guy at all.
Yeah, just Jimmy and Lois, and even Lois is a little iffy.
Even janitors meet someone that'll say hi to him.
Perry White is
Even
typesetting also. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in this.
Like a framed picture of Bill Cosby in his office.
Yeah. You caught that. I still
Yeah,
didn't.
I see it written. I wrote it because I watched it in 2 sittings. But yeah, it's not very large. I don't even think it's an 8x10.
It's right by the door.
Right by the door. Cosby's sort of looking over his shoulder. I wouldn't say it's a pensive look, but it's
It's like a cautious, like, hope they don't catch me look.
or artistic, the comedian at rest, kind of, like at old Time Life magazine shoot kind of thing.
Is it signed to my dear friend
no.
Perry? I'm sorry, you don't remember that.
There's no
party?
signature because I looked because that would make sense.
Yeah.
It's just a magazine cover.
Yeah, I guess this editor of a newspaper really admires that comedian. of all the people in the world.
The weirdest character.
Yeah, not even a picture of the president
Yeah.
from behind, as this movie likes to show the president.
Yeah. President White Hair. That's what I call him.
Did everyone catch Clark's smooth hat trick? Like he took
Yes.
off his hat and tossed it over his shoulder and it just landed on the hat rack.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That was
One
power we didn't know he had.
One of my favorite lines from that scene, talking about the terrorism thing.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Right.
That's why they call them terrorists.
Yeah, he just learned about terrorism in that moment.
Is that why though?
Yeah, well, yeah. But yeah. No, Clark's. Yeah, Clark. It's like, I had no idea there were bad people.
And so they send Lois.
They said
Finally on an assignment that a journalist would,
yeah, right. Finally, but yeah, okay. Well, so wait. Here's the thing: they send Lois to the Eiffel Tower. There's a hydrogen bomb. How long has this been going on? Because she's in Paris currently.
Right.
When did they find out? When did they send her? Because that's like a 12-hour flight in 1980.
Right.
Easy. And she gets there.
Oh, she flew on the Concorde, which was the supersonic jet.
Right.
That
Did they?
But it was still
they
quite,
said that.
said
Yes,
that?
they
They
said
said
that.
the Concorde.
yes,
Okay,
they did.
okay,
Concorde.
good.
but it still was a while then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, well, and here's the thing. So what is Perry Clark's source on them having a hydrogen bomb? Because when we cut to Paris, Lois is shocked to learn about the hydrogen
she
bomb.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, he just didn't tell her.
Yeah, go to Paris, see the Eiffel Tower. Oh, really? That's so nice of you, Perry. Yeah.
And so there is a hydrogen bomb, but why does Superman come to Paris? Lois. Lois Lane.
Superman doesn't give a fuck about humans
Anyone.
or Earth.
Anyone.
Just Lois.
Yeah, there'll be many examples.
He's
throughout
trying to
this.
get it in, man.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
all he cares about. Well, yeah, we'll get to that later. But when his powers are given up,
Oh yeah, we will.
oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Clark runs out, changes into Superman, and flies away.
He doesn't even change. He just fades into him.
Yeah,
It's a
he-
special effect.
He opens up
He
his.
he opens up the shirt and then I guess it's a new ability just for his street clothes to just dissolve as he runs.
Oh, yeah.
The first
yeah.
of many
First
new
of-
abilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Some tricks we did not know about.
And that we don't see ever again, I'm sure.
In
Well,
comics,
before.
movies, or any other form of Superman.
So can we assume Richard Lester did those? And from now on, can we just call them a dick move? Something random has been inserted. That is what she said.
wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
man, phrasing.
Yacha. In Paris, Lois sneaks past the police lines. And
Because they're so laissez-faire.
yeah, the Frenchest cop ever. Oh, let me.
She has him look up the word for stairs.
Yeah, look upstairs. Just like
It's just like, sure, yeah, I'll find that for you.
stairs,
Right.
stairs. Oh no! All right.
Well, and he's got a real French accent. I mean, to me, I don't know, I'm an American. But the other guy had like John Cleese from
yeah,
Monty Python, like
yeah,
Of the
yeah.
terrorists? you mean?
no,
The cop that was
yeah,
like explaining what was going on.
Oh,
yeah, he was
right,
really
yeah.
like fetch a la moche.
I have this loaf of bread here. Like, okay, dude, just tell us about the hydrogen bomb.
Well, it all started with
Your mother was a hamster. Oh.
Yeah, so she sneaks past police lines into the Eiffel Tower. Meanwhile, the terrorists they release the hostages.
yeah, and then they asked themselves, like, do you think we should have let the hostages go?
Like,
so that
Was
was
that a mistake?
That was an improv move. That they just
I mean, like
shot from the hip on that one.
and didn't question it until afterwards.
Right. First
That
of all,
part
the answer
wasn't
is
written into the film. That was just
They were
improv.
curious. No, you should not let the
Cameras were just-
hostages go.
Yeah, generally that's why you take hostages.
Well, and Lois, the genius, hides under an elevator.
Yeah. Under an elevator.
Under.
Never gets off it. She stays under it for a long time.
Well, she's caught on her purse strap.
Oh, yeah.
Because she took her fucking purse.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's
Dames? Can we go back to that?
No. Lois.
Lois. It's
Let's
just
make it
Lois.
clear from here on out. It's not misogyny. This
yeah.
woman is not very intelligent.
well, yeah, and like, and she's several steps down from Mole Man Lois.
Yeah.
And that Lois wasn't the sharpest.
She's a
but-
fantastic writer, I'm sure, though.
I'm sure, especially since she has to constantly spell words to herself.
Well,
Right.
Right. To alleviate her fear with a moving elevator, she's practicing spelling
Well,
Yes.
she
Right.
talks herself
Yeah.
up from a Pulitzer Prize
to a Nobel.
to a Nobel Prize, which she
Right.
needs to practice spelling.
But that's a nice continuity from the first film, in which she couldn't spell.
Right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And we all know the spelling bee competition is the hardest part of the Nobel process. Next to the
Nobel.
swimsuit.
Can you use it in a sentence?
There was no bell on this elevator.
Under it.
Under this.
Yeah, always hide under the elevator, Lois.
Yeah, so they take the bomb up to the top and then start arming it. Where, like, this whole plan. So, like, okay, they had hostages. The bomb wasn't ready to blow. They let the hostages go to the top, and then start arming the bomb.
Well, meanwhile, the French police are arming the whole Eiffel Tower with C4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're rigging the whole thing to blow. There's a hydrogen bomb.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
they're
How
going-
does that help?
Yeah, if they
Shooting from
blow
the
up
hip.
the Eiffel Tower,
They blow up the nuke.
Yeah.
and at what point...
I'm no Lois Lane, but
Yeah, exactly. And just the idea of the French authorities being like, fuck it, let's blow up the Eiffel Tower.
Right? We could build another one.
Right?
so did you notice one of the terrorists is that he's a British actor? I don't know his name.
Richard Griffiths.
That guy. He was in Harry Potter. He's the shitty uncle in the Harry Potter movies. But,
Uncle Vernon Dursley.
yeah.
That was I did not catch that was
Interesting.
Uncle Vernon.
And I'm pretty sure he was in the Naked Gun, whichever one, maybe part 2, with the guy in the wheelchair.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was him.
All right. So, the terrorists armed the bomb, which is on the elevator still. The police plant explosives, blow the elevator, which begins to free fall with Lois underneath, which begins the first of many free falling sequences. So gravity isn't the same in the Superman universe, clearly,
Well, right.
because it takes a long time for things to fall, beginning with the elevator.
That she's underneath.
That she's underneath. Superman arrives just in time, saving Lois, who finally climbs off the elevator. Apparently her purse strap came free.
I'm sure he
finally.
just tore it or something. Or...
Be like, you know, you can just stop holding onto the purse, Lois, right?
But my passport's in there. How am I going to get back to America?
That's where that's where my feminine products and cigarettes are.
right. It's not the feminine products of the cigarettes. It's the cocaine.
Yeah.
He flies the elevator and the bomb into space, flinging it away
Past the moon.
past the moon. Yeah. It explodes. The shockwave, coincidentally,
Yeah, such a specific set of circumstances.
right?
Space is really small, you guys.
it is.
It's really small.
It's tiny.
Yeah. It's not a big place.
No. Always bumping up against things.
You're right.
Earth is right in the middle of everything.
You would be shocked how quickly you could walk from Jupiter to the sun. The shockwave shatters Zod and his cohort's Phantom Zone prison, and the 3 criminals are freed and find themselves floating in space. So, okay, here's the question. So, the yellow sun gives them power. What if they were not near a yellow sun? Would they suffocate in space? Is one of the powers being able to not have to breathe?
Oh.
Huh. I didn't
Right.
Yeah.
Because a normal Kryptonian couldn't.
Go
Could they
into
just be
space.
shot into space and chill?
Yeah.
I don't in most of the Superman universe. He requires some sort of breathing apparatus to go to space. He usually has a super spacesuit.
Okay, but just not in
Just not in this
feature
one.
films.
Not in this one.
The exploding record label thing was one of the best special effects sequences because it went from like that oil drawn thing into like an actual physical explosion.
Yes.
It was so tacky, but it was
Oh my
so
God,
cool. I was
yeah.
just like, wow, man.
No, there were a few like really cool like 70s effects in this.
Yeah.
So yeah, they fly off into the sun. And meanwhile, back in Metropolis, Clark and Lois arrive at the Daily Planet. They banter, and she tells Clark she cares about him because he's her friend.
Friend zone.
Yes. In prison, Lex Luthor and Otis are working in the laundry. They discuss Superman and Luthor's new black box, which tracks alpha waves. Meanwhile, NASA is communicating with a joint Soviet-American mission on the moon. The astronauts encounter the 3 Kryptonian criminals who promptly murder the fuck out of them.
One of them gets kicked in the nards.
Yeah.
To death.
That's rough.
I mean, that guy was walking like an idiot on the moon. By the way.
Yeah.
Back at the NASA control room, we saw the return of John Ratzenberger.
Yes, that's right.
I wonder if that's Donner footage.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Because he's in both.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, they clearly brought him back on purpose.
He was probably really cheap, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a different character, I think.
Is he? He didn't
I don't
get
know.
promoted. Maybe he just changed careers and he's at NASA now.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he was in the Air Force before. And then
Well, no, he was in
lateral.
the Navy because he was watching those missiles, right? He was
watching the missiles.
in the
Was that
missile
the Navy?
command.
And they were
yeah.
Navy missiles.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the purview of the Navy.
well, yeah, and in this universe, there is no Cold War because there was a cosmonaut on the moon with them. There was a Soviet flag on the moon with them.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, Superman basically stopped the Cold War in this universe.
Yeah, freaking blasphemy, man. Russians never made it to the moon.
No.
Doesn't one of the astronauts or someone in Houston, doesn't somebody go like, it's a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a whole discussion about a curl, which is like a comet. And
and for a moment, like, it gets a little bit like, hey, it's a girl. Like, right. You're on the moon. Why didn't you come in?
Space is really small. Again, he's like, hey,
Zap Brannigan.
what brings you here?
So not only are they able to breathe in space, but they are also somehow able to talk audibly.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Sound vibration
Yeah.
moves the same.
Yeah.
In space, no one can hear you scream unless you're a Kryptonian.
In which case, okay, well, all right, so, yeah, so many powers.
Yeah.
So many powers, but
It's the second new one.
We kind of skipped over Clark's non-power of not being able to cross the street. Which
that's right. He gets hit by the taxi,
on their way to the Daily Planet. He gets hit by the taxi.
Right, crumples the...
which was not him being bumbling because that actually draws more attention to him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He's from a small town. There's not a lot of traffic in Smallville. He's never crossed a street maybe until this day.
It was also just super tunnel vision because he sees Lois and he's just like, "Oh, hey, Lois!"
Right,
and he
Again,
just wanders out into traffic.
All he cares about is Lois.
trying to get it
and
in, man.
The cab driver's response to this guy smashing in the front of his cab with his hips is freak.
Right?
Well, yeah, and then to go and look at the bumper for like a long time, just like, well, that's strange.
I'm going to need a new radiator.
Another day in Metropolis.
So on Earth, Lex escapes prison with the help of a hologram and Miss Tessmacher in a hot air balloon.
That hologram was awesome. That was a
was
really
great. Yeah,
cool
it was
visual
pretty
That was
effect.
cool.
That was cool.
That was good. Yeah, for sure. Finally, Lex actually doing something that's super villainy.
Right,
like
that's clever.
The first movie, like he didn't really do much of anything.
No. Almost intentionally, he didn't.
They escape. Otis, unfortunately, is too heavy and gets left behind.
Yeah.
It's called ballast.
Yeah.
So the guy that came into Lex's cell and found the hologram did not raise the alarm.
Yeah.
He was just like,
Interesting.
Lex escaped.
He was just returning that other prisoner's copy of Lex's Liberace record.
That's right. Yeah, which
It's like, I'm just going to put this here and leave.
yeah, I liked that line, which was like, I want my Liberace record back, and the prisoner just says it's scratched.
Yeah. You'd think he'd be pissed about that.
Right.
I mean, do you want to scratch Lex Luthor's Liberace record?
That'll get
Do you
a
want
bitch
to scratch
stabbed.
anybody's Liberace record? I mean, miss all those solos.
Right. It does make it harder to listen to them.
And Luthor is wearing this scarf or ascot
Yeah,
at all
he's
times
got an ascot.
while he's
Yes.
in prison. My best guess is that it's covering up the bald cap, the edge of the bald cap.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Gene Hackman, that is clearly his hair in the later scenes, like not a wig.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because why would Lex choose the wig that's balding? Right. You know, it's like, Because you're supposed to believe he wears wigs,
Yeah,
but that
exactly.
last one is just his real hair. There's no hair all the way.
Right.
Was that supposed to be a wig? I was really confused by that. I was like, how
well-
long has it been since we last saw Lex Luthor? It's a couple of months.
Well, he can't grow his hair. So in
Yeah.
the sense that, he's
And in
Lex
the
Luthor,
first
it's
one, we
always
saw
a wig.
him with different wigs.
Ah, that's true.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is the bald cap that they use looks like it has stubble, like he shaved his head. There's
yeah.
a little bit of shadow where like hair follicle,
Wow.
like hair follicles.
Attention to
that's
detail.
Yeah.
But that's off character.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
true. Damn it, Lester. All right. So, meanwhile, the Daily Planet sends journalist Clark Kent and Lois to Niagara Falls. Journal. I use the term journalist loosely.
Yeah, because what assignment are they?
They're exposing a honeymoon racket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we have theories, like personal theories of what you think that is?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, because they never explain.
Yeah.
Okay, because any industry
They-
that's tourist-based is focused on getting as much money from the target audience as they possibly can. So
Yes.
Niagara Falls, people get married there.
Sure.
It's
Where's
not
the racket?
actually Niagara Falls. Maybe it's a
Oh, right, yeah. That's the scam.
it's a smaller fall
Niagara
just
Falls
down the
is-
road.
Some guy holds mirrors.
They built a whole new falls.
Just like put
to
a fake
lure
sign
in
up.
What a racket.
The newlyweds. Well, okay, so Clark sheds a little light when he says separating young people just starting out in life from their money.
That is the
Yeah.
American way. That is literally how capitalism works.
Isn't that what weddings are for?
Right, exactly. Or
Yeah.
a vacation.
So,
or
Are they
yeah.
just
Las Vegas is literally that.
charging exorbitant amounts for whatever? I don't know.
Those vibrating beds are not cheap. That's all. I have to
Right,
say.
exactly.
I don't know from experience,
Or-
but just the mechanical aspect of that has to
Yeah,
be
or,
really
or the
expensive.
rope-controlled fireplaces.
I want one of those. Of all that stuff, that's what I want.
Well, you got to make as much money as you can because, in theory, it's a one service type situation.
You only go-
get that couple one time and then they leave. So you charged a little too much for towels.
It's kind of a metaphor
Yeah.
for that fireplace thing is kind of a metaphor for that because you have to pull it and it lights the fire and then it goes back down.
Well, and I loved the bellboy who was showing him around like, got
yeah.
a little bit over there, a little bit over here, yucky, yucky, woohoo. Like,
But he picks up pretty quickly that they are not married.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, whatever you are, grease my palm, please.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Clark could have not tipped that guy.
It kind of seems like the bellboy's seen this before a lot, just like people pretending to be on honeymoon so they could come up and you know.
Right.
Maybe
Just ride
that's
that
the
bed.
racket.
But that's the customers perpetrating that racket.
Clark is pretty prudish. He might be wanting to bust him.
No, boss. They
not
sent
the-
her to write an article. This is her job.
They're trying to catch honeymooners, not the actual honeymoon haven people.
Right.
Yeah. Pretending to be
To
married.
run,
It's all the people getting free gifts for a fake wedding or something.
for this universe's version of the New York Times.
Yeah, and we don't have to dwell on it, but I just could not figure out what a
Back to the
racket.
location of Metropolis. It's near Niagara Falls.
And has the Twin
As
Towers.
close as
Again,
New
we saw
York
the
is.
Twin Towers again.
Yeah, yeah.
The bellboy was played by Anthony Scher, and he also played Loki in Eric the Viking. That was
Ooh.
Interesting.
one of the more interesting
The voice he's doing,
characters that he's done.
the voice he's doing is the voice Cameron does in Ferris Bueller when he's doing Rooney. Like, yes, Rooney. Yeah. The bellhop was doing the same kind of thing. Like, you, sir, are an asshole. You know, that's all I could think of. Strange voice choice.
Interesting rabbit hole here. That voice actually was a stage director that that what's his face, Ferris Bueller, Matthew Broderick, that worked for on Broadway
Oh,
prior
wow.
to that. So he was just doing an impression.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
So there's a real person who sounded that way. So all right. Meanwhile, over Canada in their balloon, Lex and Miss Tessmacher are slowly making their way north. It's really easy to get to the North Pole, by the way. Like super easy to get back and forth to and from the North
very
Pole.
direct, even on foot.
Also really easy to steer a balloon.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
case anybody's ever been in a
North
balloon before, you'll
Pole.
know. You just steer it.
It takes like 12 hours to get to the North Pole
They said,
via hot air balloon.
2 days though. She did mention
okay.
it's been 2 days. I've been. You should have went before we left. When they get there.
Now, have they still not raised the alarm back at the prison because the authorities are not tracking this slow-moving balloon?
Right.
There are no
It's heading
alpha
north.
waves being emitted.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There was also a snowmobile, by the way.
Yes.
I'm assuming inside the basket with them.
right.
Yeah.
Back at Niagara Falls, a kid falls over the edge, and Lois begins to suspect Clark and Superman might be the same person.
Well, Lois screams help.
Yeah.
Like, help! Not like, oh shit, that kid's dead.
Yeah.
Like, no one's gonna help.
Okay,
Everybody starts screaming, "Help! Somebody, please help! Somebody, do something!" Like,
And
Whenever Lois says help, somebody help
well,
her.
they're screaming that as the kid is free falling
gravity again.
for like 25 seconds.
It was an epic shot. I'm sure that was and he clearly had fun. Again.
Right?
What was Superman's line?
sorry, only one ride per customer.
Yeah, so good.
Pithy.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so the kid falls. Lois gets a little suspicious.
Yeah, she is simultaneously the stupidest and possibly the smartest person on Earth in that moment.
Yes. Yeah, because she's the only one who suspects.
Well, and
Right.
it's because his glasses are fogging, and he takes his glasses off, and he's like, "Oh no, I've got it," because that is the veneer of Clark Kent is just those 2 pieces of glasses and a little bit of plastic.
and the part, the hair part.
It's true. Yeah, the hair part.
And the kid falling, that dummy looked just like Mr. Bell.
Oh no!
Yeah. And then doesn't Lois later say, like, Superman, it's me?
That's right.
Yeah, as he's flying away.
Hi, Superman. It's me, Lois Lane.
So stupid. Yeah, I know, Lois. I know who you are.
Right, we've met. In the frozen north, Lex and Miss Tessmacher find Superman's Fortress of Solitude. They enter, and Lex discovers how to work the crystals that contain all the knowledge of Krypton.
Yeah, was there a hide key or something? He just went right into the Fortress of
Just an
Solitude.
open door. You
Yeah.
know?
Hello.
Anybody home? Yeah, including a recording by Superman's mother, who tells him of Zod and the others, warning that they must not escape the Phantom Zone.
She was there at the trial.
she was.
You could see
Yeah.
her in the back of the courtroom. She was, taking notes.
And I guess she assumed the Phantom Zone would drift all the way
to Earth,
Yeah.
right?
And she did
Through the
warn them
28
that the Phantom Zone could be cracked by a nuclear explosion
Yes.
in
Yeah.
space.
Very
Yes,
specific.
very
specific.
Oh,
Krypton's
no.
pretty close to Earth. I mean,
Right? It's only
28 known galaxies, they said, as we talked about.
Yeah.
It was 8 galaxies away.
8.
There
very
are
small.
There are
galaxies.
28 galaxies, known galaxies.
Again,
The universe.
space is tiny.
Yeah, that's true.
But
It
it's
really,
galaxies
it
away.
really is when you think about it.
Well, and as she delivers this message, Lex, another one of the most amazing lines in this: "No death penalty."
Oh yeah.
Sensible enough. Yes. Because at the time, the death penalty, everybody was like, "We need the death penalty."
Right.
Just
Yeah.
It was
in the
contentious.
culture.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
Well, she said after eons of peace, 3 rebel elements arose. It's just like
Just
steal some crystals?
to break a crystal.
that one red crystal.
With glitter in it.
Right,
First
right?
3 criminals in eons of Kryptonian history.
Yeah.
I am behind it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
but they're so ready for him.
Yeah, they're ready to go. They got the hula hoops ready.
Right, yeah, they do not seem like a society that's had peace for generations.
Yeah, exactly.
They're on edge.
They seem paranoid.
Was that red crystal like some narcotic or something?
Oh, yeah, possibly. Yeah, what was the red
Yeah,
crystal?
You stole my stash.
I want to know what was on the red crystal that required breaking by Zod.
Right.
It's yeah, what is his plan? I break this crystal and
I get high.
yeah, but Non already broke one. That's why he can't talk. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Luther deduces that they must have arrived on Earth due to the alpha waves he's been tracking.
Yeah.
Anybody look up alpha waves?
I assumed they're better than beta waves.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, to answer your question, no.
No.
Cuck
You're our
waves.
science expert, Al.
Yeah, Al, our resident scientist.
They are a kind of brainwave
Yeah.
that exist in all humans, really. I'm wondering if they were just stronger in the Kryptonians, because he's said, oh, that those three criminals, that accounts for the 3 alpha waves that I detected.
So he's getting their brain waves.
Theirs are
he's
more powerful.
Somehow detecting their brain waves.
Look at the big brain on Zod.
With the quote, little black box.
Do we ever see the little black box?
we
ever?
don't. We don't see the little black box.
No.
I thought we saw like a picture of the screen at one point, but no, that was the space they were looking at the moon. They saw like the radar on the moon because the moon had a radar installation.
Yeah. So back at Niagara Falls, Lois confronts Clark, accusing him of being Superman. To prove it, she throws herself into the river, assuming he will save her. Clark uses his heat vision to break off a branch for Lois to grab, who survives.
He really commits to his secret identity.
No,
here.
right.
This is the one and only
Not gonna
time
give it up.
where he doesn't put Lois first and foremost.
Well, I mean, he could have just jumped in the water and swam.
Right.
Yeah.
And been like, oh, Lois, I didn't tell you I was on the swim team back in Smallville. Backstroke champion. you know?
Well, he also had to make it look bumbling. It's
true.
The rescue.
Because that his one and only trait as Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Good speller. Bad balance and swimming. And
fast typer.
Yeah.
Very fast.
Very
typer.
fast
I mean,
hyper.
he loves her. Everything he does is for her. Maybe he didn't have it planned yet, but he was eventually going to tell her, right?
I mean, you have to assume.
I think he was
He
holding
loved
out.
her. He wanted to be with her.
He's been pondering telling her since the first movie.
right.
He
Why
nearly
is it
told her
so
on their first
important
date.
that she likes Clark as well?
I really think he was waiting to tell her until after they had slept with each other. That was what I
Well,
kept
yes.
getting.
Well,
Yeah.
here's
Against
we'll
all-
get into
we'll
that.
get to
all
that.
reason, yeah.
Yeah, but
Lots of buildup, lots of foreplay in this
it is super.
podcast.
It is super important to him that she likes Clark, and why? Because Clark isn't who he really is.
Right.
Clark isn't the real him.
He's really insecure as Clark Kent for some reason. But like, dude, she loves you. You're Superman.
She likes
Right.
Superman because Superman's the real him.
Yes, they're both the real him. See, that's the whole trippy thing. Like, yes, I understand for the world, you need a secret identity. But yeah, you love this woman. You are starting to imagine being with her. But yeah, you need her to like both of these elements.
He needs to be able to
Dude
take her
needs-
home to Ma Kent.
Dude needs some therapy. Is what
Yeah,
he
it's
needs.
disassociative personality. Yeah, if he's like, I am Clark. It's like, no, man, you're Kal-El. And these are the two things you have to do to exist.
He's like, no, I don't break character until.
You gotta like Clark too. It's odd.
So, the Zod Squad arrives on Earth, thinking it's called Houston.
Planet Houston.
Well,
Houston.
Houston.
They surprise a fisherman and discover their heat vision.
And Zod walks on water.
Yes. Another Kryptonian.
And another scenario that was so popular in movies then is just one random guy who's drinking alone, either fishing or camping. Or something. So many things were revealed to that character in 80s movies.
It was always like, oh boy, what have I been drinking?
Yeah, exactly. Look at this, the beer.
The Inquirer's never going to believe this.
Right.
So Ursa finds a snake, and she picks up the snake, and it bites her. We hear it rattling. We're assuming it's a rattlesnake. So the snake bites her, and she cries out, ow. So we found the second weakness of Kryptonians. It's kryptonite and rattlesnakes.
Snakes.
And
If only Lex Luthor knew.
we're in the desert recording this podcast.
Yes.
Rattlesnakes are native to this area. They are not native to
Idaho.
Idaho.
That's what they were.
At least as far as I'm aware.
Oh,
Is that
no,
where-
there are rattlesnakes all
rattlesnakes.
over the country.
Yeah.
But that one was
Timber.
definitely not a rattlesnake.
No, that's
No,
true.
that
It
was
didn't
definitely
have
not a
that was-
rattlesnake.
Clearly not a rattlesnake.
Not visually, but yeah,
the sound.
the sound.
The sound
The
was
sound
Oh,
was
definitely-
right.
rattlesnake.
They did make the sound.
Yeah. So, we didn't even mention Ursa's penchant for taking badges.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Oh,
really
yeah.
like that.
Just collecting badges.
She kept collecting
and emblems.
them.
That I really-
to a certain point. and then she stopped. She got one from the cosmonaut, one from the astronaut.
Well, those ones she hadn't earned yet.
And
in,
one from the sheriff.
In Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, at a certain point, we had to keep the movie moving along.
Yeah,
We didn't have time for character building.
I mean, I thought it was a cool side story.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Archer might have been my favorite character in the movie, honestly.
Yeah, actually, maybe.
But even though for some reason she was the only one who had torn
Hey,
Gladys
man.
Knight and the Pips outfits that they had.
She showed a lot of upper thigh.
Yeah,
in that,
a ton of upper thigh.
Like all of her upper thigh. At least the
But the
outside
side,
of her thigh.
the side of the upper thigh.
It's a good look.
Yeah.
They all had that weird patent leather thong thing going on too.
I mean,
we could just touch on the costumes for a moment.
They were backup singers for a band in the Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Yeah, they were in an album cover.
Yeah, exactly.
They were the Zod Squad or something.
The Zod
yeah.
Squad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
General Zod and the Mandelas.
Yeah. That night, when Clark recovers his glasses from a lit fireplace, Lois discovers that his hand is unburned, forcing Clark to admit he's Superman.
He tripped over the polyester pink bear rug.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
That has been there the whole time, hasn't moved.
Yeah, I mean that has to. Well, and he even says, "I don't know why I did that," and she says there must be a reason. So they even acknowledge that he could not have done that on accident.
Right.
Why didn't he just tell her at the river? Why didn't he just
Save her that embarrassment.
Yeah.
Right.
She was so embarrassed. That's probably why he felt guilty for making her feel embarrassed.
Maybe.
He's a real chivalrous dude.
Yeah, he's something.
He's trying to get out of the friend zone.
Yeah, he desperately
which he quickly does because she immediately tells him she's in love with him.
Well, and maybe you didn't want to with your mind, but you did with your heart.
Yeah.
And then he just says, "Let's go to my place."
Yeah,
Yes.
He's saying we can't talk here.
Yeah.
In the private honeymoon suite.
Well, there's a racket going on.
Yeah, they're probably recording everything.
They're like,
For
"You
the
should-
racket.
Yeah, you should change, Lois. We're
He
going to the Arctic.
He said they couldn't talk there because they were expecting Perry White to call at 6 a.m. or something like
Yeah.
that. So,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
we got to go
they-
somewhere else.
They leave
Because at some point in the future, we will receive a phone call.
This is before the internet, you guys. If you're too young to remember, phone calls were all you got.
That was all.
Yeah, and you had to anticipate it a good 12 hours ahead of time.
You got that, 3 channels on TV, and the newspaper on your doorstep.
Right. So he says they should go to his place. Meanwhile, we meet a couple of country cops.
Yeah, the
Dwayne?
the Smokey and the Bandit type vibe of these.
Totally.
It was like Dwayne's first day on the job.
Yeah,
too.
and he
for
does
sure.
not like fish.
Yeah, he has weird dietary
Fish or
restrictions.
beans?
Like,
Fish or
okay,
beans.
if they have beans, I'll eat the fish.
He ultimately decides he's going to try the fish.
Right.
That's true. He does.
He
come
just doesn't
to
want
it.
to be forced to try the fish.
like any American. Let me do it in my time.
Let me decide.
We didn't catch his senior officer's name, not that I caught at least. But Dwayne, you got to learn how to kick ass in order to be a peacemaker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's like quintessential.
That
As he hands him the shotgun. Yes,
Yeah.
that was a great,
some
great line.
some Boss Hog
philosophy there.
vibes going on there.
Yeah.
Which the shotgun, Zod uses his laser vision
Right.
Uses
Heat it
heat
up.
vision and
to pick it up.
He heats it up and then pulls it towards himself. It's some sort of laser beam telekinesis.
Yeah,
He's
this
got-
is like
he's
power
got-
number 3.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's got heat vision and tractor beam vision,
Right.
or something.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I love that Dwayne's like, I'll bet you $10 they're from LA, Los Angeles.
Get out of the road, you hippies.
Yeah, then hippies automatically hippies.
Like they
Of
look like
course.
Judas Priest
Yeah,
fans
exactly.
or something. Not
Yes,
hippies.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like no one has long hair.
No. Yeah, no, she, if anything, she looks like Grace Slick.
Later, it'll turn out that they have tractor beams in their fingers as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And they're white beams for some reason.
In their fingers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in their fingers.
Well, but then they also, there's tractor beams, but then were they also kind of repulsor beams? At one point?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sort of a multifunction beam
They can
coming out
pull
of their fingers.
or push.
Well, a non can't do anything, though.
You can push things with a tractor and pull things with a tractor.
And since we're touching on that, that's power number 4 that we did not know Kryptonians had.
Right. Right. So yeah, the Zodiacs disarm them and frighten them, and then head into town.
The Zodiacs.
The Zodiac. Meanwhile, Superman flies Lois to his fortress of solitude in the Arctic, where he's like, "Oh, are you cold?" After, like, why didn't you tell her to put a coat on when you left?
You know where you were going. You know human physiology is limited.
And then she says she should be, but she's not, and they leave it at that.
Yeah, they don't say anything else. Well, and
so one of his powers is climate control.
That's a side effect of arousal. Is what I was assuming.
Her core is heated.
She's so hot she can stand in the Arctic.
She's like, you know what? Yeah, you don't. If you had thermal vision, Clark, you'd be.
Hey everyone, Thoreau from Harmless Phosphorescence here with a message for you. Yes, you listening to me talk. Did you know that the Harmless Entertainment Network has a Patreon? That's right, you can join in and get extra fun like a Star Wars Harmless Phosphorescence miniseries, a patron-only Q&A roundtable episode. We have great bonus episodes of audio dramas like Attention Hellmart Shoppers in 1994. But not only that, if we reach our next patron goal, we'll do a monthly bonus Harmless Phosphorescence about a patron-chosen non-superhero movie. Plus, there are great new shows on the way, and if you're a patron, you'll get to hear them first. Head over to patreon.com/harmless entertainment today, and for the price of a cup of coffee, you too can join our super awesome superhero club. Now, back to the show.
Kryptonian special power number 5. He picks up a piece of fucking green kryptonite. He just picks it up.
Yeah, that green crystal.
That's kryptonite, right?
Wait, where?
Is it? Well, I mean, it's a green crystal, but
No,
that's
it's different.
That's not kryptonite.
I don't think it's kryptonite. I don't think the crystals
that
are
was
kryptonite.
that was the original crystal that formed the Fortress of Solitude.
But I thought that was kryptonite.
No.
Okay.
They're just crystals.
Okay, so scratch that one. We're back to
I thought it
power
was
4.
kryptonite.
Okay.
Kryptonite is like actual rock.
Yeah. From Krypton.
From Krypton.
Whereas the crystals are
Crystal.
just a thing they do a lot of stuff with that we are unclear on what they
That's
are.
where they record their history.
They're
and
manufactured.
build buildings and give themselves powers and take their powers away.
Yes.
Different molecular structures.
If they're red, they could be narcotics.
Possibly,
Yeah.
yes. So the Kryptonians show up and bust up a bar, terrorize some town people.
I think Non is like Zod's Otis.
Right.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
he does a lot of like sort of comedic stuff. He pulls the light off of the
Right.
top of the
Tries to give it to
tries
him.
to give it to him, and Zod just gives him this look.
He does a lot of
like,
body work.
Well, it reminds me more of Mice and Men kind of a situation.
Okay, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like,
Or
tell me about the rabbit side.
There's a lot of like Three Stooges moments with.
There
with
are a lot
Non,
of
where
it,
You're
yeah.
just like, oh, come on.
Non is definitely more I don't know, physically capable than Otis.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
But we see him practicing his heat vision, which he
Right.
can't master quite away.
with the
he's
kid.
right
better.
And there's a kid there, all, Dust Bowl style in his overall dungarees and everything. And then they're like, Mr. Like, he's a general. Mr. General, would you please let my fall again?
He had an English accent, right?
Yes. Yeah. It was like, why? It's Christmas Day, sir. He had a full-on British accent.
Yeah. I was like, I had to stop and run it back. I was like, what?
I blame the director for that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
That
I
was
got
a
this
dick
kid.
move.
He's great.
I mean, they were. I have a feeling they were filming in Pinewood, and they're like, we need a
London,
kid.
yeah. Well, and it was probably ADR, so somebody probably went back and recorded that.
Like, what?
Yeah. Maybe it was Richard Lester himself.
Mr. General. Mr. Jets.
It was bonkers.
God, yeah, that was
in
crazy.
Idaho,
Yeah, this is. It was at this point that we found out that they're in East Houston, Idaho.
Yes,
Yeah.
East Houston, Idaho.
Is that a real place?
I don't know.
I
didn't look it up.
I
Not
highly doubt it,
anymore.
but
To our listeners in East Houston, I apologize.
yes, please, send us an email.
Yeah.
So I never, I guess I didn't put that together. So did they think they were going to Houston? Because they think that's the name of our planet.
Yeah.
yeah.
But then did they look on a map and found it in Idaho and went there?
I think it was just a coincidence.
How did they mix that up? I mean, you would think
Well,
that Houston, Texas would be an easy target to spot compared to the like
East Houston.
one stop
Houston,
sign.
with okay,
Right.
yeah, with
Just this tiny town filled with British kids.
British kids and Southerners
Yes.
in Idaho.
Exactly.
Idaho is, north of Utah, for those of you who are not aware of the geography. If you're from Krypton.
There's a guy named Boog who lives in East Houston, Idaho.
Hi to Boog, if you're listening.
I assume he was the champion arm wrestler.
Yeah.
Until
Ursa came around. Yeah, definitely.
I could have split off and saw that movie where she just did, over the top, where she just goes around the country arm wrestling people.
Driving her big rig.
Yeah. She sat right down.
Yeah, no, she was ready to go. So back in the Arctic, Superman shows Lois the traces of his past stored in energy crystals. She says she's hungry, so Superman flies around the globe collecting flowers and food to bring to her.
Yeah, like Grubhubber. But
he also picks up like crystal and like the silver champagne
Table
holder.
settings,
He hit the tropics for the 2 bird of paradise flowers.
Right. Meanwhile, our planet is being attacked by Kryptonians.
But he doesn't care. He's on a date.
He's on a date.
He's trying to get laid, man.
Yep.
Boy, howdy.
Thinking with his dick.
Yep.
With his baby
all the
dick.
time.
That's all.
It is rather small.
Well, I mean,
That's
for
why they keep
Kryptonian.
showing
Here's
the
the thing.
penis
If-
in this baby penis. It's formative for him.
He's small dick energy. Superman.
Well, here's the thing. Is Superman a virgin at this point?
Absolutely.
Yes.
God,
Yes, he is.
He may have fucked those tube things in the Fortress of Solitude.
Teenage,
Yeah, because he hung out there for a long time. We talked about it last
Well,
time.
I mean,
12 years.
it's just him and his mom, so
Yeah, on both levels. His Krypton mom and his Kansas mom.
yeah.
He's just left with them.
Back in East Houston, Zod takes out the army.
The bumbling National Guard. Did you see the guy with the bazooka? And then his partner pats him on the head right before he fires the bazooka.
I think that was a signal, right?
Yeah.
Was it?
As a signal to fire.
Because they have to load the artillery in the back, and then they pat him on the head, and then you're good to go.
The moment that he's been waiting for. You finally get to shoot this thing in the field in
Missed
Idaho.
bazooka class that day.
That was some good explosive work.
Yeah. And Zod took a couple of almost direct hits. That guy was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, he was probably, 100 yards away and missed all 5 times.
Every single time.
But it looked cool.
Ursa comments on their inability to fly without machines, as if she's been flying her entire life.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
Look at them, they can't fly.
They could not fly on Krypton without machines.
Yeah.
So
She forgot where she came from, man.
Yeah.
we
exactly.
see the president
Got
for
her
the
roots.
first. Yeah, we see the president.
I'm sorry.
Started from the bottom. Now she's here.
Yeah. And by the way, how does greater molecular density allow you to fly?
Yeah.
I think it would be the reverse.
The molecules vibrate, maybe, or something.
Yeah, you're right. If they're more dense, they should be heavier.
Yeah.
But
That's no.
Denser.
Yeah.
this isn't really a science discussion.
Yeah.
No.
They take,
Alas.
Yeah, alas. They take out a helicopter. We see the president for the first time, who laments that Superman isn't around.
We see him from behind, right?
Yeah, from behind.
Later, you see him from the front. But
We watch him as Mount Rushmore is carved.
Okay, yeah, that's amazing. That's another Kryptonian ability.
Yeah, they just carve
precision
with their eyeballs.
sculpting.
Yeah.
As you fly by.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that might be specific to them. They are artist criminals.
That's true. It was
They're hippies.
an aspect of the high still hadn't worn off the red crystal
you
yet.
see how they're dressed, right? None of the other Kryptonians are dressed that
That's
way.
true. What the hell, man? They must have made them costumes themselves.
Right? Zod addresses the camera, asking if anyone on the planet could challenge him, and he declares himself ruler of Earth.
Yep.
Yeah, well, and
Done and done.
there was like a weird presidential switcheroo. The bald guy who wasn't the
Yeah.
president.
Yeah,
He's like,
coming up.
You're clearly not the president.
No
Right.
president would kneel
Never knew. Yeah, I don't know what a
before
president is.
Zod.
Right?
As
As the president just
his catchphrase.
It was at
kneels.
this point in the movie, I think, that it occurred to me to ask the question, what is Zod the general of?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
His 2-man army?
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, Because he wanted to enact a coup, right? A military coup.
He did, yeah.
Yeah,
So was he a general
which
in their
is
ranks?
a little blurry in this actual film.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know if any of that happened. We'll just assume, yeah.
Well, we
could
did
have
hear
been
about
framed.
that at the beginning of the first movie.
Yeah, that required Brando, though, to read those lines.
Yeah, exactly.
So Lois and Superman are up in the fortress.
Right. And Superman declares his love for Lois and tells him he wishes to spend his life with her. After conferring with his hologram mom,
Who is not a hologram, briefly.
No, right.
She
She
walks
steps out.
out of the hologram, and she's just like, hey, dear, are you sure you want to do this?
I'm corporeal.
And this is the one question I hope you'd never ask.
Right?
Like, how to do it with a lady.
Yeah, so
The birds and the
so,
bees.
So,
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
so here's the
At
deal.
30?
It's not that he can't be with her. He can't be with her.
So is that what it
unless
is?
he's mortal.
So is he going to screw her to death?
So that's
No,
Superman?
is that it?
I
Is that what you're
have. That's
thinking?
how I have to
What do
read
you
it.
Like, this is an Incredible Hulk Natasha
why does he-
situation?
That's how I have to read
Right.
it.
Right?
The super sperm will kill her.
Shoot right out of her top of her skull or
Yeah,
something?
I mean,
so it's getting a little graphic here.
Well, that's a lot of supposition because I don't know why she doesn't explain why he has to be mortal to love.
I can't think of any other logical reason.
That it would.
I mean,
the only other one I thought of is that it could possibly taint his objectivity. You know what I
Well,
mean? But that already does.
yeah, clearly.
Yeah, just having the feelings taints his objectivity,
Already,
as we've seen
yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so I can't think of any other reason he would have to give up his powers. And
This has been pondered before by the likes of Kevin Smith.
Yeah, exactly. Jason
certainly,
Lee and
certainly. Yeah, we're not the first by any means.
But what is this movie trying to make us believe?
But yeah, that seems obvious to me that he would probably kill her if.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why he
that's
needed
really
to
the
be
subtext.
mortal.
if he can pick her up and fly around with her, I'm pretty sure he can, like, control other aspects
Pull
of his
out?
body. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, wear a rubber, use protection, kids, if you're listening. Or adults. Jeez. Guys, come on.
Okay. Well, yeah. I certainly am not arguing, but if that's what the movie wants us to believe,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I mean, I think that's what the
They could just do
subtext-
oral.
Well,
only.
The back of her head, out the back of her head.
His mother
also,
on Krypton
he asks
knew
his
that.
mom and does not confer with Lois at all.
No,
Yeah.
She
she
comes
does
out.
not ask her opinion.
I'm going to go slip
no
into
one.
something more comfortable.
Yeah.
And then she comes out and he's in this box, like
Yeah.
with a red light on him, and she's like, "What the hell am I getting myself
right,
into?"
doing like some crazy
Because-
like poltergeist.
And
Yeah.
because she's in love with Superman.
right,
Even
not
he knows that.
specifically not Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he so he gives up his powers.
Just
Is
like
she
that,
still
like
in love
that.
with him then? Because he's no longer Superman.
I think that she sort of betrays that in the diner a little later. I
Yeah.
think she's sort of shocked to see him get his ass kicked.
yeah, and she's like, "Oh,
And she almost directly says, "You're not the man I fell in love with."
Oh, right.
Yeah.
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 That is a line. Yeah.
yeah."
What an
So,
asshole.
so he gets rid of his powers after mom says you have to fuck.
I mean, it's
And-
like
Yeah.
getting a face tattoo without asking your wife.
yeah,
like,
that's totally, yeah.
absolutely.
like,
And this device that takes away his powers, it also gives him a change of clothes
right.
Yeah.
Yes,
and possibly a wig
and shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
and shoes.
that trippy footage. I'm sure that
Yeah.
was Richard Lester, but yeah, with the skeleton and the
Yeah.
the peeling the layers away, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That always kind of freaked me out when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember definitely. So then they adjourn. Well, no, see, so this is how I'm reading this because they immediately adjourn to the bed. I'm not Superman. We can go do it.
That was an emergency blanket hammock.
Yes.
Not a bed. That was a shiny silver sheet attached to 3 places on the roof. That's a bachelor pad, man.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
He had like a spool just out of frame, with like some beer
love,
cans
like,
on it.
Well, I guess we're walking home
Yeah.
from the Arctic.
we didn't.
They steal a car at
Yeah,
some point.
Lex didn't leave that snowmobile behind, did he?
Yeah.
So he's a normal man now, but we can assume this is his first time, so he's probably still faster than a speeding bullet.
Amazing. I'll put in the rim shot sound effect.
Well, and I think Lois has been around. You don't get juicy stories like a honeymoon racket without some favors.
No, Lois.
Well,
have you seen Margot Kidder's face in this? She's seen some shit.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
She's looking rough.
she smokes a lot of cigarettes too.
Yeah.
And does a lot of.
Yeah.
Does not. I mean, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but
Or of smokers. I don't know.
yeah, you know,
Whatever.
yeah, at least, yeah. All right, so they're doing that, and meanwhile,
Also, they didn't get married, you guys. Let's talk about the real elephant in the room
yeah,
here.
Superman premarital sex.
Yeah.
No, and I have this note I have to say, I'm sorry. But when she gets into the diner, she orders just like Spalding in Caddyshack, if you guys remember that, where she walks up like, I have a cheeseburger, I have a milkshake, I have a french fry, I have a double french. Yeah. Just like, Jesus.
Clark's like, I didn't get cash out of that freaking red tooth.
I'm a normal guy now.
It's like,
All of my sponsor deals, sponsorship deals.
I can't fly to go just pick flowers on an
I
island
get you
anymore.
food. We have to walk from the Arctic.
Yeah. Oh, God. So Zod destroys Mount Rushmore, then invades the White House. He orders the president to kneel after the whole fake out with bald guy, was who I kept wanting to think was Ron Howard's brother.
oh, yeah,
Clint
seriously.
Howard.
Yeah. So the president then warns Zod that Superman will never kneel before him.
And when the president kneels, he says, "Oh God," and Zod corrects him. Zod.
Zod.
I am Zod.
So, yeah, kneel before Zod, which is the catchphrase of the 80s.
It was, yeah. I don't think Trump would kneel, and we'd all die.
No. Oh, God, no.
I mean, could be worse.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it will be. We'll be wishing for Zod, but yeah.
Which I love later on when they are so bored with
Yes.
ruling Earth.
Right.
So bored.
Like, oh, another day of ruling Earth.
It's been like one day.
I know.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, okay. So, after smashing, Clark and Lois leave the fortress and return from the Arctic by automobile.
Yeah, they must have stole that car.
Yeah, because they didn't drive it up there.
on the road.
On
that road.
From the
From the
Fortress
North
of Solitude.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, they're clearly like in Minnesota or something. Like how they got all the way.
Because it looked to me coastal. I was thinking Alaska or possibly the
Alaska would make sense.
Canada.
Yeah.
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 There's a lot of flannel at that diner.
There was, yeah.
Yeah.
Arriving at a diner, Clark is beaten up by Rocky.
Who punches him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, I mean, all right. To be fair, Rocky was a dick.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
A total dick. But he wasn't going to beat Clark up until Clark challenged him and said, let's go outside and fight.
Well, but he was in his seat next to his lady. I mean, what do
That's
you
fair.
do? What
That's
do you
fair.
do? That's my
fair.
chair.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Alpha waves, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And beta waves. Well, right? Do you just go sit at a booth then?
well, so, I mean, that's the question.
That's
like,
a choice.
What should suit? Yeah. Because you're not Superman
Yeah,
anymore.
seriously.
And Rocky
Okay,
looks like
Well,
a
nobody
guy
is
who beats
Superman.
people up.
He's got a square
People
jaw,
stand
man.
up for each other all the time. All right, okay.
Yeah, true.
I'm with you. Rocky's a dick.
No, yeah, Rocky's a total dick.
But Clark has never been in a legit fight
No,
before.
right,
No.
that's true. And you
Clark-
think in high school, oh, right, but he was still...
Yeah, Clark doesn't know how to fight someone who can hurt him.
I don't think he's ever fought anybody ever.
Right, he's never had to fight.
Yeah.
That's true.
Who does he have
mean,
to fight?
that
He didn't
is
fight
true.
Lex Luthor in the first movie.
No.
He flew around the earth.
Right.
He was just
couldn't
catching
fight a
stuff
human.
and picking up heavy things. That
Yeah.
was all he did in the first movie.
Yeah.
Well, because just like with sex, you know, a punch from Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kill someone
It's
with
sexy.
a punch.
Oh, yeah.
It's sexy. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and Rocky only hits him twice.
Yeah.
And Clark is like bloodied. Like he
Yeah.
looks like Rocky at the end of the Rocky movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Rocky
He
lays
was
him
jacked up.
out. Yeah.
Clark does go through like some glass right there, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a-
My blood.
It's like a vestibule thing, but it's weird
Yeah.
because it's like a rail car type diner. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he goes through a window. But it's not a window; it's indoors.
Didn't make any sense in the layout of that building at all.
Yeah.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
I didn't know I had this inside me.
Yeah, he's totally shocked.
Then immediately on the TV in the diner, Clark and Lois see an international television broadcast of what's happening in the White House. So
Surrendering the Earth.
This is the first time they find out that Earth has been invaded by aliens.
Because they were on their shitty job in Niagara Falls. And then this whole thing, totally unaware.
Had no idea Earth had been invaded
Fucking
by
Superman.
aliens.
Yeah.
He was so focused on getting some.
Not being Superman anymore.
And this is the point at which he jokes that we should get a bodyguard, and Lois says, "I don't want a bodyguard. I want the man I fell in love with."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Who is
Not
Superman.
you.
Right.
And then they find out they're aliens invading, and he immediately says, "I have to go back."
Exactly.
Right.
Whoops.
And I need to do something about this irreversible thing.
Which I was told specifically was irreversible.
Yeah, that was the word. Irreversible.
Forever.
Forever.
Irreversible.
No tag backs.
There is no return.
Yeah. It was she was very clear.
Well, and he walks to the North Pole like he's freaking Edmund Hillary or something. He's
Right.
like, I'm just going to go up there.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
He's
I'll
got
be
like a
back.
members only jacket on.
right.
Not
He's
even a
trying-
scarf.
Yeah. That was my note. He treks back on foot to the North Pole in a light jacket.
Yeah.
A windbreaker.
Oh, wait, members
something.
only. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I had one of those.
He should be dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, seriously. Yeah, and we see him arriving at the Fortress of Solitude wearing still just
Yep.
that.
Yep.
He has no superpowers at this point.
And then they don't show us. They don't show us him regaining. Right.
well,
Do they even tell you how he does this?
He picks up the crystal, it gets glowy, and we cut away.
Yeah.
Puts it up his ass.
That's
Yeah.
about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was assuming that there
I
was
would
some,
assume so, yeah.
So-
some kinky stuff happening there.
Well, right, because then how does that stop anyone else? Lex goes there without Superman's knowledge. How do you not regain? How do you not adopt those powers the same way? Like,
Yeah,
why
anybody
can't
who-
anyone, whatever he did with it,
just anybody could
held it
become-
up, sucked on it, put
well,
it
I
in
mean,
his
is
ear?
it- is it-
I don't know what he did with
I
it.
guess you could argue it's his Kryptonian DNA is still different than human DNA. Powers or not.
Yeah.
Maybe it was triggered by his precise Kryptonian DNA. It was designed just for Kal-El. It was like a designer crystal.
Why would? Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Why would
Just
she
for
say
him.
it's
Just for
irreversible
him.
then? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was
It's
really
just a big
specific
hole.
about it being irreversible.
Yeah.
Super specific.
And the fortress is pretty much destroyed at this point.
Yeah.
Except for the green crystal that I guess we can think it was underneath Lois's purse way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it got forgotten and undestroyed or something like
The
that.
most
It was-
important artifact on Earth.
Right.
Why didn't she put it in her purse?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Lois, man. So I like when we go back to the Daily Planet and Perry White and Jimmy are talking this stuff, and then the three of them crash through, and all I can think of is like, we also have journalism resumes, just like Kal-El. I want to write a column like
We're here to answer the
non-news.
ad in your paper for missing journalists.
Out and
Nuts
about,
on now.
out and about on town, out and about on Metropolis with Non.
Here are articles from the Phantom Zone Bugle.
We've been
Exactly.
publishing. It has a small circulation. We've been publishing it for 25 years. Yeah.
Phantom Zone's most eligible bachelor.
It's Zod again.
You just get them from Non.
Yeah, exactly. Take our resumes.
Yeah, God. Lex Luthor says,
Yeah.
even with all this accumulated knowledge, these dummies haven't even learned to use a doorknob.
Yeah.
Because he's just walking in like, oh shit, man. They just walk through the walls.
Right. How does he ingratiate himself to these Kryptonians?
He mentions earlier they ask him what he wants in return for his help. He says he's always had an affinity for beachfront property.
Right.
So he wants Australia.
I thought he was going to go back to his original plan, back to Coachella. Like, just back to that, El Indio,
Will you
California.
guys chip off California for me?
Would you
Help
please?
me with this California
I've
deal.
been working on this for a long time.
Like, I have a vision board, and I need to see this through.
I'm one project at a time.
Right. But yeah, Australia. So
Yeah.
he asks.
He wants
for that.
Australia.
Did you guys pick me up a Liberace record?
Yeah. So Luther just walks into the White House. I have to assume there is no more security since it's just on them. So
And they're not watching the
wild
perimeter.
No, they don't care. They are so bored with ruling Earth. Like it's been
So
2
bored.
days. Like conquering Earth is so much more fun than ruling Earth.
Yep.
I wish I had paid attention to how many times they threatened to kill Lex Luthor, because it's at least a dozen.
Several
God,
times.
it's
yeah.
a baker's dozen.
Kill this man.
We'll kill you.
He's like, wait.
But what about this? And every single time it's like, kill the Earth's greatest criminal mastermind.
Right. I'm a real estate agent.
Yeah, he's just a shitty real estate agent.
But it sort of reminded me of like Loki and Thanos in Infinity War, where he's like, I consider experience. Like someone clearly more powerful who has no use for you, but you're trying to weasel your way into the van.
Yeah, it's
like,
very much the same guy.
yeah. I don't know how they didn't kill him.
Well,
Lex
earlier
Luthor. He's an asshole.
he tracked them down because they must have shared the same contempt for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
That's what
yeah.
they have in common.
Yeah,
They're
no,
mutual.
yeah, they just are evil. He likes them because they're evil.
And it just so happens that they all have the same enemy. Mm-hmm. It's just a coincidence that Superman is Jor-El's son.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
they're like, oh, shit, somebody to fight. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
Jor-El's son.
Zod even asked him, like, how do you know about Jor-El?
yeah, which we don't see or hear in this film.
No.
Right? Like, some crystals, man.
So he sends his wife, go ask your mother.
Well, no, that was the thing from the beginning when they first got put into the album cover when they were flying away. He yells, "Jor-El!" In this version, Jor-El didn't put him in there.
They should have overdubbed that with his wife's name.
Lara. Which, yeah. All right, so Superman arrives and battles Zod and the Zodettes.
General, would you care to step outside?
Yes.
Which works this time because he knows now he can actually beat somebody up.
That's right.
He's been in a fight
It
now.
didn't work with Rocky.
All that experience, he knows not to turn his back to his opponent.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to
No,
learn.
yeah,
when you
Rocky
first
was
go
actually
around.
pretty formative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was yeah.
Yeah, so they fight a bit. There's some subtle product placement.
Yeah, so they
subtle.
fight on the streets. Did you notice there was a random dude with a trumpet?
Yep, yeah,
Yeah,
Yep.
I saw him.
Oh, I missed that.
The product placement.
Random
There were some good ones in there.
extra.
Cuddy Sark.
Oh, yeah,
Ooh,
Cuddy Stark.
Marlboro.
Yeah.
I don't think you could do that in a
KFC.
film anymore.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Not really.
And and some subtle Coke.
Yeah, Coca-Cola, Evita, the Broadway musical,
Yes,
which I'm
Evita.
sure was popular that year.
Yeah.
I hope so.
yeah.
That's
In Metropolis,
random.
it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Metropolis is Broadway.
Yes,
Don't
not
cry
New York's
for me,
Broadway.
Argentina.
So yeah, there's a lot of extra work going on, a lot of
So
ADR
much.
work.
Women with baby carriages.
Yeah.
Why are they so oblivious to danger?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's just- I don't know. They're just so enchanted by their baby.
Yeah,
that-
what is it?
and the one lady who looks up and sees the thing that was falling,
The
on
falling
her,
tower,
again,
yeah.
falling and falling and falling, and doesn't grab her baby and run out of the way.
Nope.
Looks up and says, "My baby," covers her baby with her own body while looking up and saying twice more before it hits her, "My baby, my baby."
Yep.
She had the same insurance plan as Lois.
Yeah.
Just shout really loud and pray for Superman.
And we mentioned it earlier, but there was a lot of like slapsticky fighting in the air.
Oh yeah.
Between Superman and especially Non, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just like almost right down to the eye poke thing.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, it was comical.
Ursa tries to hit Superman with the big pole and
Yeah.
ends up hitting Non instead because Superman slips away. And then the guy over here is like, whoa, home run.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then when Superman flies off for a second, immediately they turn on him as if he were Captain Avenger.
Yeah.
Like
a coward.
he's leaving. What a coward! Oh, he's abandoning us.
Fuck
Like,
you, Superman.
maybe he has a fucking plan. Give him 10 minutes.
Right?
He's Superman.
Right.
He
Just
might be
immediately.
turning back time.
Well,
Right,
I
exactly.
I loved the two kids that like Superman flies away and they're like, "Ugh, let's get out of here."
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So disenchanted.
So lame.
No concern for their own safety. Also,
But But before Superman flies away, they think he's dead. They think he's been killed by the bus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, man.
And it's just like, they killed Superman. Let's go get him.
Yeah, let's get them.
I know judo. Let's go.
Yeah, I know some judo.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Not conquering Earth, not destroying the White House or Mount Rushmore. This is what gets the people of Earth together to attack.
Killing an
these three.
alien.
Well, yeah.
They killed Earth's greatest champion.
Right. No.
I think I have a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I got a shot.
Yeah.
I've been training at the Y for weeks.
There's 12 of us. Let's
Right.
go.
That was a line, wasn't it? No. Oh, okay. It was. No, the judo one was.
The judo was definitely a line. Oh, man. I hope they paid that guy well, because, yeah.
And there was shot after shot after shot of someone walking out of a building and being just completely blindsided by what was going on.
Right.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, the woman with the baby carriage was one of them.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
just everybody else. Yeah, a ton of people
And
just walking
there were
outside.
two people on telephones who refused to hang up.
Oh, right, yeah. The
Yeah.
guy's laying on his side and still laughing.
Still laughing about
Yeah.
the story.
The story
Well,
is so good,
that's
and
after
you can hear it.
they threw a bus at Superman.
Yeah, which is
And-
pretty cool.
Because that's his other weakness. A bus.
Right, yeah, smashed between two
Is he,
vehicles.
like, napping?
Yeah.
Like, there was a good 2 or 3 minutes where, or like 2 minutes probably, where Superman was just not around, and it was just them
it's just
blowing people away with their breath.
Yeah.
Because they were rising up against them.
yeah.
Like,
We'll get him.
I timed it because I like to time things sometimes. The blowing sequence
Eggs.
was almost exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh my
Holy
God.
cow, really?
That was a lot of
Yeah.
blowing.
That's the
So-
length of a song.
so we
That
got the
was-
backwards roller skater.
There's shorter blowing sequences on Pornhub.
The Fortress of Solitude is one of them.
right. Right, so they grab Lois. Are we there?
Yeah, well, no, but first,
Okay, okay.
just real quick, the effects, the bus effects,
Oh.
all looked really great for a 1980 film.
Yeah, they
Cars
had-
getting tossed.
They had to have dropped the bus from a crane or something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it wasn't double shot like for flying and things like that. You know,
Yeah.
like that was a bus sliding
yeah,
across.
yeah.
the-
So I mean, like credit where credit's due. The effects in this movie looked great for the time.
yeah, yeah.
For sure.
Especially
Even
in the wind scene.
even the wacky flying stuff. Like again,
Yeah, it
if you
looked
hadn't seen
great.
anything,
that ice cream cone in the face. That was a great
all right, yeah,
practical
those
effect.
guys. Yeah,
You know,
might be our end. I'm gonna get a cone.
Ooh, great French fries.
Right? Oh yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So Superman flies away, and okay, so they go back into the Daily Planet, where Luthor tells Zod he knows where Superman lives. So my
His
question:
address.
why didn't he take them there the first time?
Yeah,
because
it's at the Daily
assumed
Planet.
that they were at the Daily Planet.
Right, wherever Lois is. But he didn't know Lois was there even.
But
Yeah.
how does he know he's at the Daily Planet? Does he know that he's Clark Kent?
No, and I wondered about that, but then he says something where it's like, this is his favorite human, or this is his favorite
Yeah.
person.
She's always writing.
Yeah,
about
and that
him.
she always gets the exclusive.
Yeah, he's
He even
always
said that.
rescuing her. Luther's noticed that he's always rescuing Lois.
Right, so yeah, I thought the same thing for a second, but
Yeah.
no, he doesn't know.
So yeah,
Yet.
He was
Zod
really close to figuring that out.
Very
though.
he
close,
really
yeah.
is.
Jeez,
He
for a-
really is Earth's greatest criminal mastermind.
he's not
But
face blind
But
like
the bar is not very high.
Not very high.
I mean, is he not face blind?
yeah, he must be. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely.
The
Lois
rest
is.
of Earth clearly is.
Yeah,
So yeah, they head up to the Fortress of Solitude.
okay. So I guess not. You it doesn't it matters which Kryptonian you're holding on to
Yes.
when you're flying because she had to ride on Nan's back.
Yeah. Well, they took Lois with them.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Lois is but with Superman, just merely a touch keeps her afloat, flying. But
Just the
not with
finger,
the
yeah.
other three. She had to actually ride on his back.
Yeah, because she's
comically
gonna
so.
tumble off him.
Well, and Lex is
Clutching
riding
for dear
Ursa's
life.
back.
Right, clutching.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
struggling to stay on top of her.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
is just weird. Like,
Yeah, there is
there's, like,
some-
he's
But
like,
with
there was some
Superman
like
and Lois, they
R.
just have to-
Crumb imagery.
yeah,
there.
he's like squirming all over her.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they land, have y'all ever heard of parachutes? You think that'd be the first thing that he says, not the last thing that he says. Like,
and the answer to that, Lex, is no.
They have not. They're from Krypton.
They just figured out flying like 4 days ago.
Haven't you heard of Mamwit? It's like, no.
And she dropped him like 6 inches. So parachute would have helped.
Yeah. So they, upon arrival at the Fortress of Solitude, they try to take Superman through teleportation and holograms. So
did they do that first, or did he?
Well, he was doing
that.
that.
Was part
he
of
was
his,
doing that. I assume that's some sort of like Fortress of Solitude kind of.
Well, can they tell
mumbo jumbo
House of Mirrors kind of thing? Was that what was going on?
Let's talk about.
But one of the bad guys teleports.
Yeah.
I know the rest
they
are like
too-
projections, but like whichever one it is.
Yeah.
Like
All
appears,
three of them did.
Yeah.
All three of them did.
But first, Non attacks Superman, and Superman throws his plastic S shield at him.
Yes, the saran wrap.
So that.
Saran wrap.
The one on top of the other one.
Right.
Still there.
And I thought, because I didn't remember that, but as soon as I saw him doing that, I was like, oh, he's got like another little like Phantom Zone kind of thing. Like, but it's just a piece of saran wrap. Like he gets it off of himself.
that dissolves after a few seconds.
That's so annoying.
Yeah. Right. I was like, oh, he's going to trap him again. That's no.
He's just going to keep
He's
him in the
inconvenienced
freezer,
him.
for a couple of weeks.
And then they
Save you for
start.
later.
Then they
Sealing
start shooting
freshness.
The white
the
beams?
force field, the
The
force
finger.
beams from the fingers,
Yep.
and then suddenly they're teleporting all over the.
Yeah. All of a sudden, that's a thing they can do.
force.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So that's
Superman
power
can't do that.
5 and 6 there, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe 7, including the.
The cellophane thing,
cellophane
too, because that was
S.
clearly not an
The saran
object.
wrap S, yeah.
That was just,
Yeah. So they do that.
Wrong again, Zod.
Yeah. Superman captures Zod, and Ursa and Non capture Lois. Superman surrenders to save her. They're gonna tear her apart like a wishbone.
Yeah.
You think that would have been a really easy thing to do for them?
Yeah.
But they were like clearly tugging on her already. Like showing a lot of like, we're going to pull this lady apart if you don't give us what we want. Like, they are just as strong as Superman, and they would have ripped her in half like a piece of paper.
Well, perhaps they were being very gentle, and it was theatrics.
Yeah,
for
it was just an
Superman's
act.
sake.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I know how to pull a punch.
So weird.
Like, you think they like pull a finger off or something, like, whoops. Oh.
Yeah.
They're really fragile.
Let's get to the most important.
They threaten to kill Lex again.
Again.
Yep.
He flips over to Superman's side for a second, and then
And Superman tricks him.
Superman tricks
Tricks
him.
him. Tells
Brer Rabbit style.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Brer
Totally.
Rabbit style. Like,
Totally.
don't throw me in the briar patch.
Don't you do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it like that.
Don't you do it.
Better not do it.
Superman has super hearing, so they clearly have super hearing. And
Right.
he is whispering like,
But they
don't even tell him.
they start walking over and Superman's like,
Yeah, like,
yeah, they can hear, but he's trying to play it off like
They're
they
in
weren't
the same-
talking.
So no. But when Luther goes over to him, they just stand and wait for them to converse equally and do nothing.
That's why his little
Act natural.
funny. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
act natural. This is not suspicious at all.
As if they came out of a room together. You know? They're standing there the whole time.
It was like he turns like, oh, that's right, they're here.
Yeah, exactly. Damn. I said the loud part quiet, the quiet part loud. All right, so he tricks them all.
Tricks
Yeah.
him. Yeah, and into putting him into the crazy chamber again.
Yeah.
The chamber.
But apparently,
The molecule
The crystal
chamber.
chamber.
Molecule
that's right,
chamber.
the molecule chamber.
Science.
Yeah, so
term.
Luther betrays Superman.
Yeah, instantly.
Um,
Which Superman knew. It was
Yeah,
coming.
totally.
Brer Rabbit.
He knew that was going down. Yeah. So Zod forces Superman into the chamber and activates it. Superman exits the chamber, presumably powerless, and Zod orders him to kneel. Zod, for one shining moment, gets his kneel.
Yeah.
For one brief
Finally.
shining moment, and tells him to kiss his hand. However,
Right.
Superman crushes Zod's hand and throws him into a crevice, killing him.
Well, because
Maybe?
they have no powers, right?
just disappears into the mists below.
They are now powerless.
Yeah, they're mortal. So yeah.
I mean, Lois didn't freeze to death up there. I mean, it's probably a lot colder
Well,
in the hole.
I assume they're falling far enough that the fall is going to kill them.
really slowly.
and that
though.
Superman is not.
That's right, graphic.
So Superman's not humping
They're
them to
still
keep them
falling.
Yeah, they've been falling since this film was made.
warm.
I'm pretty sure I read a synopsis somewhere that says that Superman put them back into the Phantom Zone, but that's not.
Maybe that was the Donner cut.
That's not. Maybe.
Well,
But that's not apparent here.
They're the villains in Supergirl, right? Isn't Zod
I don't
the
remember.
bad guys?
No,
I don't
there's
remember.
there's some sort of witch.
From the Phantom Zone. right?
This is the CW show,
Oh, that's right.
right?
That's right.
Supergirl.
That's right.
No,
Yeah.
no. Supergirl.
No, the movie. The
Oh,
movie.
the movie.
With Peter
19
O'Toole's in it.
1984.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
That's coming up.
Helen
man.
Slater. Oh, I thought Zod was the bad guy in that. My bad. But the Phantom Zone's in it. I know that.
Well, isn't there like a whole city in the Phantom Zone or something?
yeah,
or
it's like a place.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
like, but
That
in
Peter, because Peter O'Toole is sort of like the Zod.
Oh, that's
or not
right.
Zod,
That's
the
right. In
Yarrow.
Supergirl, there's a flying Kryptonian city that escaped the planet's
Oh,
destruction, and they're
that's
all like partying on it.
Oh, and that's in the
Peter
comics.
O'Toole's
What's that
in
called?
Supergirl?
Yes.
It's a little city
Oh,
in
I'm
Candor.
in.
Candor. Yeah, that.
It's
yes.
terrible.
That
Supergirl is
Brainiac has.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and then Non just trips and falls.
Yep. Garlic naan.
Yep.
Well,
yeah.
he tries to fly. And
Yeah.
Yeah, because he hasn't caught
Oh,
on.
that's yeah.
He tries to fly, and the forward momentum causes
Right.
him to
That was
fall.
because
perfectly in
it might be
That
safe
was
to say
fine.
he didn't even understand the plan to begin with,
Yeah.
like the molecular machine or whatever.
Yeah, he had no idea
He
what
didn't
was
see that
going
coming.
He probably thought he was going to save Zod. He's like, I'll
yeah.
go get him.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, gravity.
Oops.
This is really slow.
Right. So you're you set your house on fire and your dog keeps running. It's like, no. Yeah.
So then Lois murders her son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a
Punches
real
her.
pain in the neck.
You're a real pain in
She had her
the
in
neck.
headlock the whole time.
Yeah.
She's crying. Like, ooh. She held it together until the headlock.
Yeah.
Of all the things.
Then that was enough.
yeah.
Oh,
Straight punches
She
it.
was crying about Superman losing his powers a second time.
A
That's
second
true.
time, yeah. She was like, shit.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so she knocks Ursa in at which point Superman flies back to civilization, returning Luthor to prison and Lois home.
And then he
Okay, so at
he
the
flies back to the diner.
back. Oh no, that's
no,
the last.
no,
scene.
wait,
That's
wait, wait,
we're
wait.
getting ahead of ourselves. That's how the movie ends. That's the
I thought
last
that's where we
scene.
were. Oh, okay, go ahead.
So at the Daily Planet,
right, yes.
the following day, Clark finds Lois upset about knowing his secret and not being able to be open about her true feelings. He kisses her and uses his mind-wiping ability.
Okay, that is what happened.
Power number
'cause
9.
Once again, I didn't catch that, and Andrea was like, he wiped her mind. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Kissy memory wipe, yeah.
yeah. So that's
Christ.
super uncool.
That's the widest stretch, I think, out of all the powers. out
Right,
of all of
exactly.
them.
It's the
Yeah.
most inexplicable.
Yeah.
yeah.
Almost anything else can be rationalized
But this one, like
in the fantasy.
he can
Yeah.
wipe her memories, her specific memories of him being
I
Superman.
think
Through
what
a
he did-
kiss.
I don't
Through a
think it was
kiss.
mind wiping. I think that he took her mind through time.
He
He time
he
traveled.
re-recorded her mind
She
song.
remembered none of it.
He
His
flew
tongue-
around her brain
Yeah.
so fast.
his tongue swirled
And that's the danger of the Kryptonian
I had a headache
physiology
10
when it
minutes
comes to
ago.
the,
So and also like that's like some super gaslighting bullshit.
yeah, it
seriously.
totally is. Right.
and she's just like, what are you guys talking about?
So then it is-
Aliens?
it's-
What?
What
It's
happened?
just about sex, so they can't be in love.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
then she's all, Louine, what's going on in the world? So she has no memory of the three
Right.
Kryptonians
Yeah.
Oh, right.
that just showed up. It's like she has
Maybe
she
not
has
even-
no idea what's going on in the world. And I think this is
She probably forgot
This
who was
is the
running
start-
that honeymoon racket.
this is the start of the inevitable decline of Lois Lane, as we will see in Superman 3.
Yeah.
She's,
Yeah.
yeah, you're
she's
right.
kind of she's kind of a joke in Superman 3,
Yeah.
if anybody remembers.
Was she a serious character in 1 and 2, though?
No, but you're right. They gradually, she almost falls apart like Margot Kidder herself.
Yeah. Yeah, which Margot Kidder's fate, anyone who doesn't know, is pretty sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so yeah. Hello. Yeah. So So that and she gets right back to typing. She's like on a story immediately.
Right. Yeah. Which story?
What
Yeah.
did she
Because how
write?
far did the memory? Like Paris,
Like, yeah.
Niagara, Zod.
Like, what are you typing there, Lois?
I wonder.
It's like War of the Worlds.
A short story on oranges.
I want to know how she spells Niagara.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Probably racially.
yeah. Ooh, Lois. Then Clark returns to the diner, has a rematch with Rocky, the truck driver.
Because he
Right.
just lives there.
Yeah, so petty revenge.
Exactly.
First of all. And secondly, I
Exactly.
love it that he has little quips. He totally reminds me of George Costanza when he has to like spend 2 days coming up with his comeback for the jerk store. Like the jerk store called, they're out of you. But it's like, I've never seen garbage eat garbage before.
Take that.
Yeah.
Why-
Petty revenge.
Why do these people at the diner tolerate Rocky anyway? Because he's insulting their food. He's like, bring me another plate of this garbage.
This diner isn't that run down. It's a pretty nice diner.
And it's full.
Yeah.
He's not the only guy in there.
Why is Rocky not banned from this diner?
Well, and why does Clark have a huge roll of cash?
That's true.
He's a fucking reporter at the
He
Daily
probably
Planet.
stole it
Jimmy
from
also makes
Lois.
$40 a week, so Clark probably makes like 200, let's say.
If he's lucky.
But like that's a lot of cash.
He has a lot
Just
of
like
cash.
the car they drove. Yeah, I don't know if he got that cash on his own.
Yeah, or if he just flew
It was
around the
legit.
planet collecting cash.
Yeah, legit.
So Superman.
The jerk store called. It was so Costanza.
It was so
Superman.
I've been, what did he say? I've been working out.
I've been working.
Yeah, I've been working out.
Yeah, I've
So
been working
quippy.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Superman restores the American flag and the roof of the Oval Office.
Right, apologizes to the president.
Says-
All in one piece.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
all in one
And
piece.
he's holding up the roof of the White House by the flag.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And he says he won't let you down again. It's like, well, tell the president what you were doing, Mr. Superman.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you explain to the president where you
Serving
were?
dinner to a chick at the North Pole.
I erased her memory. We're not going to screw again. I
Yeah, don't
swear,
worry.
man. Don't worry.
We'll definitely keep the TV on.
The good news is I'm not a virgin.
Yep, exactly.
Hit it and quit it.
Got that out of my system.
Yeah, I've seen some bras.
2, 1. All right, 1. Shut up, President.
E.G. Marshall. That's Clark Griswold's dad from Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And
The president.
That's the end of Superman 2.
Yeah.
Great film.
But then at the end it says, coming soon, Superman 3.
Yes. It wasn't that soon.
No.
It was 3
But they were
years.
sure. Obviously, the Salkinds were pretty sure.
Yeah. They knew.
Lester did the third one, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lester directed the third one. Yeah. They invited him
But
back.
not the fourth one? Not the Quest for Peace?
No, not Quest for Peace. I don't remember who did that one. Yes.
Yeah,
off the
we'll
top of
get
my
there.
head.
Man.
But so yeah, there we are. That is Superman 2. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle here, ranking. Currently, we have four movies sitting in the rankings. Number 1, Superman 78. Number 2, Batman 66. Number 3, Superman and the Mole Man. And number 4, Hero at Large.
I say the third spot.
You say the third spot?
Yeah, I give it a solid number 3 out of our.
So we're saying it's better than Hero at Large, but not as good as Superman and the Mole Man.
No, better than that.
Oh yeah, better than Superman and the
So
Mole
it's
Man.
Superman 78, Batman 66, and Superman 2
Superman
is
2.
what I'm suggesting.
I second that. Yeah.
Al?
All right. Yeah.
I mean, I think Superman... honestly, Superman 2 is probably a better movie than Batman 66.
Can we
I
just-
just love Batman 66.
Can we just give this one an asterisk of, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it did not hold up to my childhood memories.
No, it's
At all.
very odd.
But yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. It's definitely not as fun as Batman 66.
Yeah.
No, I just love that movie. The
All right.
color
Yeah.
alone.
If they had labeled the ladder, maybe I'd give it.
Yeah, if it was Superman ladder.
All right, so that's it. We're putting it at number 3. It is currently the third best superhero movie ever made. as far as what we've... As of 1980.
As of 1980.
It was the third best superhero movie ever made.
Condor Man's going to give it a run for it.
Well, I love that Roger Ebert saw both that and Hero at Large.
Yeah.
He was so into this, and he wasn't totally mean to Hero at Large.
No,
but
he was
he's
tough
like,
but fair.
How does that compete with Superman 2? Yeah.
Yeah. There we are. Next week, we will be back with Disney's Condor Man.
Who's the star of that?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. We'll get there.
Yeah, we will get there. Next week, Condor Man. Once again, I am one of your hosts, Thoreau Smiley, and I will give up all my powers for just a taste.
I'm Josh Cece. Come join me in the molecular booth.
I'm Brian Lesh, and I'm going to go label my ladder.
I'm Alaric Weber. Is there no one on this planet to challenge me?
Kneel before Alaric Weber. Goodbye, everybody.
Nom.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to give a big shout out to all of our Patreon producers, Alyssa Dent, Hedda Paulson, Katie and Finn Thorpe, Kirsten Reed, Michael Beckworth, and Jojo Birchtree. You too can be a Harmless Phosphorescence producer. Just go to patreon.com/Harmless Phosphorescence and pledge $10 or more. Harmless Phosphorescence is a production of the Harmless Entertainment Network. Visit us at patreon.com/Harmless Entertainment for early and ad-free new episodes, bonus episodes, and so much more. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, or Facebook to get the latest news, participate in polls, or just let us know what you think about the movies we're watching. You can also send us an email at harmlessentertainment@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and be sure to tune in next week.